Welcome to the Poisoner's Cabinet. I'm Sinead.
And I'm Nick.
And this is your weekly podcast exploring the lives of the great poisoners, macabre murders, and captivating crimes from across the centuries, and creating curious cocktails inspired by the tales that we tell. And it's episode 210.
Is it indeed?
It is.
Oh, God.
Who'd have thought it?
Who'd have thunk it?
Who'd have thought we've gotten this far? We're going to just say this every time we get to
yes.
a number.
Yes.
We're going to get confused by numbers again. It's very hot here. We're very confused as it is anyway. How are you, Nick?
I'm alright.
You're all right.
I'm ticking along.
Ticking along, enjoying your little week off?
Oh, it's gone far too quickly. And I have done none of the things I wanted to do.
What did you want to do?
Well, I wanted to paint those bookshelves.
Yeah.
And I have not done that.
Okay.
I wanted to change these lights. I have not done that.
Yeah.
I wanted to do other things that I have not done.
But you've had a nice relaxing time? Or have you spent the time going into an existential spiral?
Maybe I spent the time going, why am I sitting here not doing those things I want to do? And then go, no, but if I do those things, then it's not relaxing, it's not a holiday.
Yeah.
And then go back and forth between those two extremes.
It's executive dysfunction, isn't it?
Which has been incredibly relaxing.
When you relax, you're thinking there's something I should be doing. Yeah. And then when you're doing
Pretty
going,
much.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
on holiday. I shouldn't be doing this. No, and then I sit down and go, oh no, I'm on holiday. I should be doing that. And it's like, but no, I'm on holiday. I shouldn't be doing any of this. Oh no. It's complicated.
All I can advise is little hour spurts.
It's Thursday. It's too late for that.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you would get to Thursday and go, my holiday's over. You have 3 full days the rest of today where you can get riotously drunk and there will be no consequences. I mean, well, there may be consequences.
You have no idea what I want to do when I am riotously drunk.
I look forward to it.
It's going to be a lot of consequences.
Well, that's very good. Any poisonings this week while you've been procrastinating and going into the depths of despair?
Procrastinating, I think, is a harsh word.
Did you get anything done?
Shut up. I took some Lego apart.
Okay. Why'd you do that?
Because it makes more space.
Oh, I'm not looking.
See, look, there's space. There's more space.
Oh, that's good.
See, there's no things. There's no things on surfaces.
Okay, that's a good thing. That's a Negroni. There you go.
Mock me.
You just said... I'm choking on my own rage here. It's okay if you say it.
Exactly.
But if I say it, you've not done anything. How dare you, woman? Good, but there's been no time for poisoning because you've been too busy dismantling Lego.
Far too busy.
Was that one of the things on your list, dismantling the Lego?
It was.
It was? Good, great. You can cross that off. Dopamine hit. Yeah, and the lights and the shelves and everything will get done
Shut up.
next year. I didn't say you had to do it. I said you should relax. And look how relaxed you are.
And look how that's worked out for us all.
Well, speaking of relaxing and doing all the things we were supposed to, but actually not doing them at all and going into a horrible, horrible spiral of dread, I think it is time for us to thank our delicious Patreon subscribers.
Yes, indeed. They should come and paint my shelves.
Oh, they can. They would. We can all hang out.
Thank you very much this week to Christina Shirley.
And to Zachariah Perdue.
Marvellous.
You lovely, lovely, sexy Patreon subscribers. We had fun on Patreon this week. We had My Story. And
more Tudors.
It was more Tudors.
More Tudors.
Trio of Tudor murders. There are many, many random tales from the Tudor period of murder, and they make for great podcast episodes. It was good fun.
It's always handy.
Oh, yeah, Ben Jonson, Earl of Oxford, who was apparently Shakespeare.
Yep.
A guy who
Road Dictionary.
Yeah, no, we just spent a long time discussing the dictionary he didn't write.
And our new play that we've come up with.
Oh, yeah, we did come up with a play. I'm very proud of us for the amount of research and time that we spend on this podcast and all the episodes and delving into history and really trying our best not to give an overview but also to give a really in-depth look at it. Also that we hear the name Johnson and we go, that's the dictionary guy, even though it was several hundred years beforehand.
I'm quite proud of the amount of bullshit we come up with. I mean, it's a lot, we talk a lot of crap.
We do, amid some very, very serious research.
Yeah, and I think that's a skill in itself, I feel.
It is. It's not dry and boring. It's moments of idiocy there as well. It's us just going Wednesday. Oh, God. Oh, well, Nick, are you ready?
No, really.
To drink cocktails and talk about poison.
About poison.
About poison.
About poison.
Or we could drink poison and talk about cocktails.
Yeah, right.
It's like a cross between Steptoe and Son and like...
What is going on there?
And someone else. Oh, no.
Steptoe and someone else.
A little bit of Leonard Rossiter, I think, in there. I take inspiration purely from 70s and 80s situational comedy. Involving
that's how you live your life,
prejudiced
really.
men. Oh, Mrs. Jones. Should we go with the first one?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, hooray, hooray, hooray. It is Nick's story this week, and we can't possibly have a story without a cocktail in hand. As you know, dear listeners, every week we choose a secret ingredient that is inspired by the tale that we tell, and it will flavour our cocktail of the week. Nick, the secret ingredient this week is
Argentina.
Argentina! Oh, we're getting quite the run of countries and places. Yeah, purely geographical.
Purely geographical. Not one we've had before. It was this, or a toss-up. Yeah, it was a toss-up between this one and a repeat of an existing ingredient.
Ooh, okay. Well, we did discuss that.
Yeah. Sinead bullied me to go for Argentina,
Bullied.
which is the most tenuous and vaguest of links in the history of the world. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I wasn't sitting there like hitting you with a pillow going,
She was.
say Argentina.
She was. She's got a big thing for Argentina. So what if I can talk
Apparently
about.
so, yeah. Cannot get enough of Argentina. Love Maradona.
Constantly tangoing about the places.
Oh, I'd love to be able to tango.
That'd be quite cool, wouldn't it?
Would you love to be able to tango?
That's a good idea. I think that's quite cool.
Neither of us are built for the tango.
Oh no! Oh god, no!
No, like even if we were in the best shape of our lives,
Yeah, no.
I'm very short and
I'm very fat.
clumsy.
So it's not going to work well.
But you have to be nimble of foot. That's
Yeah,
the
exactly,
thing.
and I'm not that either.
And you have to do a lot of like the leg has
Lots
to
of
go
twiddly
up
things.
and point in a direction. And so it's clearly we should go on Strictly.
Well, I mean, they're missing a trick here, aren't they?
Would you do Strictly?
Oh Christ, no!
Would you not?
No.
Well, apparently now. No, you get yelled at a lot. It would be a relief, actually. Like, oh, this is so much nicer than what Nick does.
What you'll find out though is I'm the next judge on the next season.
Who's this guy? He knows a lot about poison and cocktails. And he knows the pointy leg move.
And he knows how to judge horribly.
So, Nick...
He's very judgy.
It's very, very judgy. So, Nick, with Argentina as the inspiration and the ingredient, what are we having?
We're having
What are we having?
an Argentina.
Oh, we're having an Argentina.
Having an Argentina.
Right, never heard of. I was wondering if you were going to whip out the tango there.
I mean, is there a tango cocktail?
Did you not even look?
No.
Did you just see the first one and go, yummy?
Pretty much.
Okay, cool. Argentina, obviously, place of wonderful cocktails and
Well, I
wonderful
don't know. I
drinks.
might. Well, okay.
Oh,
Question for you: do you want an Argentina? Do you want a tango?
that sounds like a bit of a fight, kind of in a
Yeah.
pub. They say, do you want an Argentina, mate, or do you want a
Or do you
tango?
want a tango?
Do you want a tango?
Fucking pick one. All right, just fucking pick one.
I don't know. I don't know. What do I want?
I don't know. What do you want? Come on.
The Argentina, but also maybe a tango on the side.
Tango on the side.
I need a couple of drinks before I dance. Well, we're getting one or the other of those.
Or we get one or the other.
Wonderful. I think it is high time for us to walk steadily into the Poisoner's Cabinet kitchen and shake up a storm. So we'll see you in a minute.
We'll see you in a bit.
And we're back.
Hello.
Well, Nick, what do we have?
We went with the Argentina. Maybe we'll have a tango later.
Both figuratively and literally.
Exactly.
Nice. Now, this is a curious colour. This was almost
Yes,
pink.
it is almost pinky colour.
It is a lovely pinky,
Not
sort of,
what I was expecting.
maybe a rusty colour, but it's very, it's clear. But is it just rosé?
It's just wine.
It's just it's a secret ingredient. It's wine.
It's wine.
It's wine. I'd be down with some wine. Maybe later. Oh, that's lovely looking. Okay, well, I'm intrigued. Let's dive in. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
That's not unpleasant.
It's not undelicious. Not fully delicious.
It's not entirely delicious, but not unpleasantly delicious.
No, it's not unpleasant at all. I don't know what it is. What is that? It's not citrusy.
No.
Floral, maybe?
Ish.
Fruity?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's got nice flavour to it. It's not spirit forward, I
No,
would say.
not overly so. No.
It doesn't smack you in the face. You'd almost compare it to a nice, like, really cold Provençal rosé. Like, it's so light.
Yeah.
That's actually...
Surprisingly so, actually.
Yeah, okay.
But,
I have no idea what's in that. And I like it.
Good.
I do like it. It's
I'm
just
glad.
it's gentle, it's
very,
floral.
It's very gentle. It's very subtle.
Very subtle. And
It will put you on your ass.
well, that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Okay, so some guesses. Gin?
There is gin.
Okay, lovely. We're on to a good start.
On to good stuff.
What's got this pinky hue to it? It's not really bitter, so I'm thinking it's not Campari.
It's not Campari.
Not red vermouth.
Nope.
No? Okay. Is there something floral in there?
There.
Or are we thinking herbal?
You're thinking yes.
Twiggy?
Yes.
Not chartreuse.
Not chartreuse.
Twiggy herb Benedictine?
Yes. So I want to say, what's your go-to?
Yeah.
If it's not chartreuse, what else is
Well,
it?
if it's something I like.
Yeah, exactly. Benedictine.
Ooh, okay. And is that the colour then?
I think, yeah, because there's a relatively small volume in comparison to gin and other bits and pieces, which is why the dark colour is diluted like that.
Okay, so
There
gin...
also is some bitters in there, some Angostura, which is helping that sort of colour as well.
Okay, so gin, Benedictine,
Yep.
delicious. How many more?
So you've got two...
Oh, I've lost the ability
two
to
other
speak. Right. Two other bits.
Two other bits.
Fuck. Rum.
No.
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 I'm just going to guess stuff now. I don't know what I'm saying. This is actually like, oh dear, that's dangerous.
It is pokey. Think fruity.
Fruity. Orange?
Yes.
Oh, orange. Triple sec?
So triple sec.
Oh, it's triple sec.
Triple sec.
Delicious. Maraschino?
Nope. That's it for your floral. And then think other.
Sugar?
No.
Other. Okay,
Think
so
something else. Not floral, not citrus.
not
Potentially
herby,
sort
twiggy,
of
rooty?
a bit herby rooty.
Wait,
Think lighter, clear.
Lighter and clear. Yeah, lychee.
No. That's fruity and floral.
Clear with the things, with not the maraschino,
Not
with
the
cacao, chocolate. With, I don't know. I don't know. Nick.
What else would you frequently pair with gin?
Tonic.
This is painful.
I know.
This is painful.
What would I have with it? Lime. No, I can't think. I cannot think of a single.
A nice dry vermouth.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Fine. Okay. Yes, I definitely tasted that.
So yes.
Sorry.
So gin, dry
It's
vermouth,
like a martini.
and some triple sec. Bit of an dry orange martini going on there.
Oh.
Bit of Benedictine for some herby
Oh, that works.
twigginess. And then there's also some orange bitters in there as well,
Yeah.
and Angostura.
Oh, like a dry, like you said, like a dry orange martini with a bit of the Benedictine in there. That is classy.
Actually,
Yay! It's a delicious drink.
It's time for coffee.
You get a coffee if you want. I'm going to get drunk. We have a gala to get to later, Nick, to dress for. This is marvellous. Can we please stagger in late to this gala?
Definitely.
Yeah, and you can be like Maleficent. And I could just be behind you. I mean, yeah. I see I wasn't invited to this christening of the princess. What? Anyway,
shall we try and get through this?
It's
a lovely drink.
With the Argentina firmly in hand, tangos may come later. Is it time for a story?
It is certainly time for a story.
Yay!
So today,
Okay.
none of this Tudor nonsense.
None of that.
None of that.
None of
Who
that.
wants any of that? None of that.
Okay.
We are returning to the Wild West.
Oh, to the Wild West.
The Wild West.
Oh, you do love the Wild
with
West.
the story of a legendary American outlaw. We are talking about Butch Cassidy.
Yay! Okay.
Who, with his dear old partner, the Sundance Kid,
Hey!
and the gang, the Wild Bunch.
The Wild Bunch.
The Wild Bunch, they managed to evade capture for years and are responsible for numerous bank robberies and train heists all across the American West at the end of the 19th century.
Hooray!
Very exciting. So, to start at the beginning, Butch Cassidy.
It's a good place to start.
Butch Cassidy was not born Butch Cassidy.
He wasn't?
He is born Robert Leroy Parker.
Oh, nice.
Yes, 13th of April, 1866. His parents are Maximilian Parker and Anne Gillies.
Ah.
Now, both are actually English. Both
Okay.
His parents are English immigrants whose families had converted to Mormonism in the UK
Ew.
and then had decided to make the pilgrimage to Salt Lake and settle in Utah.
Oh.
And this is when Maximilian and Anne met. They married and they established a small ranch near the town of Circleville in Utah. And they had Robert. Robert was the first of their 13 children.
Jesus Christ.
It's a big old family, big old ranch. They needed labourers.
Big old vagina.
I don't think they all came at once.
Is that not how it works?
That's how it works.
Regardless.
So yes,
ranch.
one of many, many children with a ruined mother. His early years on the farm are fairly unremarkable, really. His family are religious, but they're not overly strict. They're not overly so.
Okay.
So his time is spent working on the farm. Yes, there are religious teachings and services and stuff to go to, but same for everyone. And apparently he does enjoy playing the harmonica. as well.
Who
And
doesn't?
who doesn't enjoy playing the harmonica? But as he gets older, he reaches his teenage years, he starts to realise that he cannot stay on the farm forever. He's got to make his own way in the world.
Okay.
He doesn't want to be a ranchman for the rest of it. Ranchman, that's not the right word.
Ranch hand.
A rancher. He doesn't want to
rancher.
own a ranch or anything like that. He
Doesn't want to be a rancher. Doesn't want to be a ranch
ranch hand,
hand.
he
Doesn't
doesn't
want to
be
be
a
a ranch
ranch
dressing.
or
No.
cow. He's not any of that. He wants to go out and explore life and have some fun and have some jolly time.
Go.
Robert's life of crime almost starts as an accident.
Ooh,
Really.
okay.
It is almost accidental. There is one Sunday when he is 14 years old that he rides into town to buy some new clothes. So he goes there. However, it's a Sunday. Everything is closed on a Sunday.
It's the Lord's Day.
It's the Lord's Day indeed. And so he finds the shop locked up. Not wanting to go home empty-handed, he breaks into the store, takes a pair of jeans, but leaves an IOU on the counter for the for the clerk. So yeah, this is Robert Cassidy. I broke in. I stole some jeans. I will come and pay you when you're open.
The guy's like, well, no, you can't break in. It's not just come and help yourself.
The shop owner entirely agrees with your sentiment there and goes, no. So he presses charges against Robert for burglary. Now, luckily for Cassidy, the judge actually takes him at his word. It's the only time he could get to store.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, flat out working on the farm.
Right.
And yet he left his name and his details and what have you, and he had every intention of coming back to return and pay for the goods that he had taken. So the judge said, okay, fine. And he is acquitted of any wrongdoing. Now, the shop owner didn't think this was funny. His parents don't think this is any particular laughing matter either. And they go, no. You need to go and learn some responsibility.
Yes.
So he is sent away. Not far, but he's going to go and work on the neighbouring ranch. So you're not going to work for us. You're going to work for a neighbour, the cattle ranch there. And when he's there, he meets a man who will alter the course of his life, really, change it forever. He meets Mike Cassidy. Now, Mike Cassidy is cowboy by trade, sort of outlaw because it's fun, really. And he is a terrible influence on the young Robert, and he encourages this sort of restless and rebellious streak that Robert has. And Robert more than happily sort of follows Mike Cassidy into this quite lucrative business of stealing livestock, rustling cows, all this sort of stuff, get a good bit of money, and what japes we're all having. At the age of 18, Robert finds himself on the run. Likely from
all the japery,
all the japery that he committed with Cassidy, absolutely. And he leaves a note for his mother, telling her, "I'm off. I'm leaving home." He says there is no future for him in Utah. There's no future in being a ranch hand. The pay's shit. It's awful. He wants some excitement. He's a young man. He wants to have some fun and live life and have a good time. So he leaves a note for his mother. I'm not coming back. By the time he is 21, he has moved to Telluride in Colorado, where he meets someone who will become a lifelong friend, Matt Warner. Now, Warner, he owns a racehorse in Colorado. Right, okay. And he and Cassidy begin racing at various events and things around the state, and they split the winnings between them. So they take turns of riding, split the winnings. But before long, the money that they earn from this is not really keeping them in the lifestyle that they want to live in. Yes, they have a great success at one race, and they're living at large, hitting the saloons, hitting all the fantastic places in town, having a grand old time. But then he's singing musicals, all this. But within a few days, the money's gone. Where are we going to get the money from? And the next race isn't for a few weeks or whatever. So they go, oh God.
This isn't the way to make a living.
This is not the way to make a living. What is the way to make a living? Let's start planning a bank robbery.
Hey!
Let's start going after
You know when there's money, banks.
Exactly. That's where they keep all the monies.
They do, famously.
On the 24th of June, 1889, Robert and Matt Warner and two brothers, Tom and Bill McCarty, they rob the San Miguel Valley Bank in Telluride. They make away with $21,000.
Jesus, in that time.
Yeah, exactly. That's over $500,000 in today's coin. And even though they split that 4 ways, that's still a hell of a lot of money, absolutely. So they're having a grand old time with this. And the authorities are left sort of scratching their heads, really, as to who has committed this robbery. Where is this money gone? And it seems to be that it is an exceptional level of planning that has gone into this robbery that has enabled the gang to sort of get away, and it becomes a trademark of the gang, really, that how they get away with their heist for as long as they do. They will stake out their targets for weeks, really. They will learn the comings and goings of employees and delivery people, and when shipments come in, when money goes out, and all this sort of stuff. They want to make sure there are no surprises, so they really plot these things. A witness at the time recalls seeing Robert practicing with his horse for hours and hours and hours. He's training so that the horse will wait calmly, is not affected by gunshots or explosions. The horse will, except when sort of Robert, running at a pelt, leaps onto its back, and then the horse will take off.
That's clever.
So the horse is not spooked by anything that might happen.
That's a good
during
horse.
the robbery. So good horse, and well practiced. They also meticulously plan their escape route and backup escape routes. They have other horses waiting down the line, so they can do almost a relay. So one horse gets a bit knackered. There's a new horse.
Yes, of course. You need fresh horses.
There's a fresh horse waiting to take them to the next leg of the journey.
I've seen that in the film.
Yeah, they've got this all planned out, and the accomplices who will come and take away the exhausted horses and look after them.
To the glue factory.
Just
to look after
to
them.
the ranch.
Have
a snooze. But they plan all this out into the nth degree.
Yeah.
Which is how they are able to get away with such things. And say, it is this attention to detail that becomes the hallmark of their robberies.
Yes.
Really. Now, it's with this sort of entry into sort of next level serious crime that Robert decides to change his name. This is when I can't really be Robert Parker.
Yeah, spare his family.
Exactly. Yeah, hide myself and also spare my family, indeed. So he chooses a new name for himself. Cassidy, in honour of his mentor.
Yeah.
And Butch is not so much his choice.
Oh, is it not?
No. One day, he and the gang are sitting around having a chat or whatever, and he tells a story about how he had to get a job in a butcher's shop one day.
Right.
He needs to lay low for a while.
Yeah.
Keep his head down. He got a job in a butcher's shop.
Yeah.
Everyone else thought this was hilarious.
Yeah.
That this bank robber was hiding out in a butcher's shop, and they started calling him Butch.
Did they, though?
They did.
Right, okay. That's the story he tells later on.
That's the story that is told by Matt Warner. Tells the
Matt.
story.
Oh, okay. All right.
That he was the one who gave Butch Cassidy this name.
Butch. Oh yeah, Butch. Okay.
Because he worked in a butcher's shop.
The reason I say that is because Butch is quite a masculine name, and I sort of feel like he went around like, "You all have to call me Butch," and then it's like, "Yeah, it's because I worked in a butcher's shop," and they were like, "No, he insisted."
He did not give himself this name. He was given this nickname by one of the gang, and apparently he did not like it at all.
Butch.
But from then on, it stuck.
That's a good name.
And he became Butch Cassidy, absolutely.
Yeah, there's worse names.
One of the most famous names in history now, indeed.
Yeah.
In 1894, Butch Cassidy is arrested in Wyoming for stealing horses, and he is sentenced to 18 months in prison. But prison, it's an occupational hazard. For his line of work, it's no particular deterrent. So he is soon released, and it's just after his release that he begins forming this gang that becomes known as the Wild Bunch. Yes. They are also known as the Hole in the Wall Gang.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other names they go by as well. But the Wild Bunch, which is actually, they took that from the gang name of another bunch of outlaws.
Yeah.
The Dalton Dillon gang, I think, were called the Wild Bunch. And they were sort of heroes.
That's why I was a bit confused, because I was like, the Wild Bunch, that's a different film.
Yeah.
And I am basing this entirely on all the films.
So they took the name the Wild Bunch, but they were also known as the Hole in the Wall Gang.
Yeah, the Hole in the Wall Gang.
And you'll find out why they become the Hole in the Wall Gang shortly.
It's because they hated floors.
But yeah, this is where the gang really starts. You have Butch Cassidy. You also have William Ellsworth, known as Elsie. Ben Kilpatrick, the tall Texan. Harvey Logan, who's known as Kid Curry. There are several others that come and go, but those are sort of the core of the gang.
Others who have shitter names.
Others have less exciting names.
Jimmy the Hands. Leslie the strange.
The first robbery as a gang occurs on the 13th of August, 1896. So Cassidy, Elsie, and Kid Curry, and a man named Bob Meeks. So one of the extras. He's only in this robbery.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything else. They rob the bank at Montpelier.
Oh, nice.
In Idaho, and they escape with approximately $7,000. So again, a decent chunk of money.
Meticulous planning.
It is after this job that Butch Cassidy meets a chap called Harry Longabout,
Yes.
who is known as the Sundance Kid.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Are we going to learn how he got his name?
Well, indeed we are. So Harry was originally from Pennsylvania.
Sorry, I have to do the thing. Pennsylvania. It's not the same.
And he had travelled to Colorado to help his cousin out on his cousin's new ranch. He eventually leaves his cousin's ranch and strikes out on his own as a wrangler. And he finds jobs in various ranches and farms until a particularly harsh winter forces a lot of ranchers to lay off sort of staff and temporary workers, and Harry is one of them. He's left now to fend for himself.
Yes.
He is 20 years old. He is unable to find work, and he is passing through the town of Sundance in Wyoming.
Oh.
Where he steals a horse, a gun, and a saddle from a cowboy.
So he needs his clothes, his boots, and his motorbike.
Is that a thing?
As Terminator 2.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry, it's just... It's a very niche thing.
That's a very niche reference.
It's a very...
Do all these things from a cowboy. But he is quickly caught.
Yeah.
And identified, and he is sentenced to 18 months in prison.
Ooh.
And it is while in prison that he adopts the nickname the Sundance Kid.
Yeah, okay.
Because he was caught in the town of Sundance.
Yeah, the thing is with Kid as well, it's like Billy the Kid and stuff like that. It's like, why the Kid?
Is it because he's relatively young? He's 20? So
Yeah.
perhaps he was particularly youthful looking?
Smart, kind of an upstart or something like that.
Yeah, so I think maybe... Yeah,
Maybe.
He's
Oh,
the kid who was caught in Sundance.
Sundance Kid.
But
It's
yeah.
pretty cool, though.
But it's
the
a
name.
pretty cool name. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's smart for that.
Yeah, indeed.
There were a few other people who like stopped in awful named towns
Yeah.
going, I'm the Mud Kid. What?
So yeah, no,
I don't think there's a place in America called Mud. Maybe there is.
he's lucked out on a good name indeed.
Yes.
On his release, he goes back to working as a ranch hand. He moves up to Canada, tries to get a job there. He becomes the joint owner of a saloon in Calgary,
Okay, why not?
like you do, but then he has a big argument with his business partner,
Yeah.
and he ends up leaving. He abandons the venture and heads back down into Montana, then into Wyoming, which
Yeah.
is where he makes the acquaintance of Butch Cassidy.
Woohoo.
The Sundance Kid agrees to sign up with the Wild Bunch,
Yes.
and the gang embark on what is considered the longest stretch of successful train and bank robberies in
Yeah.
American history. There are numerous robberies that would follow, and in between each, the gang would disappear to their hideouts. Now, you either had a hideout at Hole in the Wall. They had a hideout at the Hole in the Wall Pass.
Oh, nice. Okay.
In Johnson County in Wyoming.
yeah.
This was a pass in a little stretch of mountains,
Yeah.
incredibly well hidden,
Yeah.
incredibly easy to defend,
Yes.
but also you could see people coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
So
Think Red Dead Redemption,
Yeah,
people.
so it
or
is-
the early version gun.
So it was incredibly easy to defend and hide away
Yeah.
in. And numerous outlaw gangs actually made their home in the Hole of the Wall.
Yeah.
And they actually not only did the Wild Bunch have a little sort of little cottage, a little cabin is probably more appropriate.
No. They had a cottage.
They had a cottage.
They had a lovely one with a big fence.
It'd be a nice thatch roof and
A
everything.
lovely
It was-
thatch
it
roof. The
was
group
lovely.
of juniors at the front. And they made a pie every Sunday for everyone to come
It
in.
was delightful. Cabin.
Cabin.
Let's go with cabin.
Same difference,
Same
mate.
thing.
Same difference.
Same thing. But there were loads of other gangs that also had their own cabins
Yeah.
in the Hole in the Wall Pass.
What it is like you don't want to stumble into those areas, like, because it is. I'm not basing this entirely on computer games, but huge plains
Oh,
of
huge
America,
plains.
huge for miles and miles and miles, and then you go through these kind of ravines, you pass through the mountains or these huge rock formations, and there's massive crevices where you can have loads of buildings and stuff like that. And you go in there's a load of outlaws going, "We gonna kill you."
Yeah, indeed. But they all work together. All these different gangs work together. There were stables and little supply stores and things, and all the gangs sort of contributed and chipped in to keep these places running.
Yeah, you do. You go and see the blacksmith when you need more kit, and then you go to the apothecary.
So
Sorry, this is again Red Dead Redemption.
Entire little town was sort of around, thriving there based
Simple
on
life.
the needs of all these outlaw gangs. They also set up in a place called Robber's Roost.
Robber's Roost.
Robber's Roost.
Yes, not subtle. Where do you think they should be hiding out? Well, it can't be Robber's Roost.
Robber's Roost.
It's full of chickens.
Robber's Roost was in southeastern Utah.
Oh, okay.
So
Back to
it's-
Utah.
Yeah, so back in the opposite direction. So,
Utah's very big.
yeah, indeed. But they had different places to go depending on where they were. And Robber's Roost was pretty much just them. It didn't quite have the same infrastructure as the Hole in the Wall Pass did. But also, Butch had established sort of friendships with a lot of the local ranchers as well.
Yeah.
So if they needed supplies, they could quite happily go to the local people. They knew they weren't going to get sort of dobbed in. They can go and purchase whatever they needed from ranchers, and they were more than happy with that sort of arrangement.
Fair play.
On the 22nd of April, Butch and William Lay, they have been hiding out at Robber's Roost. They ambush a small group of men who are carrying payroll of the Pleasant Valley Coal Company.
Oh, that's adorable.
Indeed.
No one will rob us.
No one will
we
rob
are the Pleasant Valley Coal Company with our precious, precious coal.
Well, no, they've got the silver coins to pay the coal miners. So yeah, they're on their way to the mining town, and then they are ambushed, and the two chaps make off with a sack of silver coins.
Nice.
From this payroll convoy. In June of that year, 6 of the gang, including the Sundance Kid himself, robbed the bank at Belle Fourche in South Dakota. However, it would seem that Cassidy was not involved in this particular robbery, and the planning wasn't quite as tight as it could have been, and the gang made off with $97. One of the robbers, a chap called Tom O'Day, was caught hiding in a saloon privy. And he was sent to trial, but he was later acquitted. Another of the outlaws, Walt Putney, was also captured, but you've got $97. You've got no money.
Yeah.
Go away. You're shit.
Yeah, you're shit. Who's hiding in a privy?
He's hiding in a privy.
Who hides in a toilet? There's only so long you can say occupied. 3 hours later, the police are going to go, I reckon he's lying. Or the authorities.
So unfortunately, that particular heist wasn't the greatest of successes. On the 2nd of June, 1899, the gang, this time including Butch Cassidy, they rob the Union Pacific passenger train in Wyoming. Now, this hold-up yields around $50,000, and it makes the gang famous across the country. They are in all the papers, and it results in a massive manhunt. Witnesses report 6 masked men on the train, and afterwards they all seem to scatter in different directions, sort of really confusing any pursuers there would be. The New York Herald states there were always lawless men that have lived along the crags and have become like eagles.
Oh, clever. It's very clever, though, the system as well. Is like, don't all run off, like,
Exactly.
literally
You're
scatter.
going that way.
Scatter. Who's the person with the swag?
Yeah, who's the leader?
Who's the leader? Who do we
swag?
need to chase? And like, they would. People would be picked off. And like, oh, they have nothing.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yes. He's hiding in a privy and he's got nothing.
Like, don't look at me.
Yeah. So this latest heist, comes quickly to the attention of the US government.
Yes.
Not only this is not just a bank; these are people. These are actual people who have been robbed at gunpoint and things. And this cannot go on. Now, the government really has little control over this area. It's a huge expanse of land. They have no sort of federal jurisdiction or forces to deal with this.
Yes.
So what else do? You hire the Pinkerton Agency. So you hire the Pinkerton Agency to go after Butch Cassidy. Detective Charlie Shringo is assigned the task of capturing the outlaws. And I need a break.
Nick, we have our drinks.
We do.
We have the second part
Oh, yes.
of the big tale. I'm going to warn people now, because we're going to a gala in a moment, I'm going to start doing my makeup while Nick is telling me the story, because I can't think of a better way to do my makeup as being told a lovely, lovely story. So if you hear brushes
Clanking.
wildly going on, that's what that is. Or me going, ow, because I stabbed myself in the eye trying to do wings.
Nice.
But yes, carry on with the story, Nick.
Do I get to do my makeup too?
Yes, you do.
So the Pinkertons are after them. You might think that this is the time to lay low for a bit. Let the heat die down, let things calm down. No. A month later, the gang are at it again. This time without Butch, 3 of the gang Sam Ketchum, Bill Carver, and Elsie Lay, they rob the Colorado and Southern Railroad train in New Mexico.
Love them railroads.
Yeah, they love them railroads. This time they make off with $50,000. They are soon pursued to their hideout. But the gang, they're better armed than their pursuers, than the posse that are after them. Ooh. They have got high-powered rifles. They've got smokeless powder in there.
What smokeless powder?
Well, just so he doesn't... It's just smokeless. It's gunpowder that is smokeless.
Oh, so there's no trail.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
I was like, why would you want smokeless powder? Oh, was that gunpowder? Sorry, I was like, I've thrown this in your face. It did nothing.
Smokeless gunpowder. Now, right. Whereas, their pursuers have only got conventional sort of black powder sort of weapons.
Yeah.
And as soon as they fire, their position is given away instantly by this huge cloud of smoke that billows out, and it gives their positions away completely, making them really easy targets for this well-armed gang. It is a vicious gun battle. Now, both Sam Ketchum and Elsie Lay are wounded, and they are eventually captured. However, the posse come off a lot worse. 3 members, including the sheriff, a chap called Edward Farr, are killed, and another man is wounded. But Bill Carver, the third man, is able to escape with the loot and rejoin the Wild Bunch, and he gets away.
Yes.
With each new robbery, the gang become better known and more well-liked, really, by the American public. They are desperate to read about new exploits, new goings-on, about the gang, and they really come to start rooting for this gang.
Well, they're stealing money, and then it's like, oh, isn't it audacious, and isn't it so
and
clever?
They're stealing money from the rich.
From the Robin Hood.
Well, and Butch Cassidy, he likes to cultivate this image of himself as a sort of Robin Hood sort of character.
Yeah.
Now, he is certainly stealing from the rich, and he doesn't give his money away by any means, but he is a generous man. And when he's in town, he will splash the cash. If he's in a saloon or like that, he'll buy a round of drinks. Yeah. And if he's wherever he is, he'll make it known that he has got the money and he will use it.
Yeah, he's not a stingy man. He's not a mean man.
So he makes a huge amount of friends.
Word of mouth.
And people love him for this sort of generosity.
Yeah.
Which only people want to hear about more of his exploits. Yeah.
Just very briefly, there is a bird outside that sounds like the vulture from Clash of the Titans. That is so loud, and I feel like it is carrying a princess in a cage.
It could well be.
It could be. So I can't turn around because I'm listening to you and doing my makeup. I have too much going on.
It's an empty cage. It's waiting for you, dear. It's waiting for you.
Well, I'm not ready yet.
How you arrive at all your fancy events.
Being carried by a vulture, yes. Do go on.
But say, as well as this sort of Robin Hood persona, he's also very keen to make the most of his non-violent approach. Now, other members of the gang are more than happy to shoot law enforcement people. He is more than happy to wield a gun and wave it around and threaten people, but he takes great pride and likes to boast that he has never killed a man. Yes,
I had heard about this as well.
Yeah, that it was all for show.
He hadn't killed anyone.
Yeah. Whereas the Sundance Kid was renowned as a gunfighter.
Fastest gun in the West.
Yeah, exactly. So
along with everyone else.
But he was there, and he was a skilled marksman with the weapon. But Butch Cassidy never shot anyone in his life. He claimed anyway. By the turn of the century, the 33-year-old Cassidy, he is starting to grow a bit tired of life on the run. He has been a wanted man for many years now, and in some states the reward for his capture is up to $30,000.
Oh, bloody
so
hell.
Sort of the sort of public sort of perception is sort of starting to tip from sort of jolly outlaw to sort of, there's $30,000 on this man's head. So he cannot rely on the goodwill of people as much as he once did. So there are pictures of him and his gang hanging in every post office in the West. In 1899, he appeals to the governor of Utah for amnesty. He says, if you drop the charges, we will stop. We will stop robbing. We will stop doing anything. Just don't come after us anymore.
That's weird.
Leave us be. We'll leave you be. The governor advised Cassidy to negotiate with Union Pacific. If they agree to drop their charges, then he would have no issue with it. Now, the railroad agree in principle. Anything to stop these robberies, anything to stop this happening. They even go so far as to offer Butch a job as a security guard on the railroad So
Why?
you come and
What are
work.
you doing?
You come and work for us instead.
Honest job. Have a pittance, people. You know what you could do? You could work 40 hours a week for very little money.
Very little money.
You know what else? It's boiling hot and miserable and it's tiring. But you know what? You'd have some steady income, maybe.
Yeah, and we won't be chasing after you with guns.
No,
And
the
you can
thrill
settle-
of that will have gone
You can
forever.
settle down. You can live in your normal life. No one's going
Yes.
to come after you. No one's going to come after you for the money that you've already stolen.
Yeah.
That's if you've got any of that left, that's yours.
Well, I suppose that's the question, though, is that why is Cassidy then gone, stop chasing us, and then we won't do anything again? It sounds crazy. It sounds almost juvenile, but to sort of go,
He's
to actually reach
had
out.
enough.
But he wants to stop
He wants
now.
to stop. He wants to stop, and he just wants to settle down and have a normal life, and he can't do that. Constantly looking over his shoulder.
Well, you can't. You know, well, mate, that was the life you chose.
Exactly. But
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
So, but he takes his punt and asking these people. A meeting is scheduled between Butch Cassidy and the Union Pacific chairman, a chap called E.H. Harriman, to negotiate the terms of this deal.
Yeah.
Then on the 29th of August, 1900, just before this meeting is scheduled to take place, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, they rob a Pacific Union train in Wyoming, making off with $55,000.
Is that a bit of a, I don't want to take this deal and a massive finger up at them, is it?
It's unsurprising the deal is off.
Is it really? Oh, he was crazy. He didn't know what he was doing.
So, yeah. Less than a month later, on the 19th of September, the Wild Bunch struck again. This time the First National Bank in Nevada. They steal $32,000. Now, the bank's head cashier, a chap called George Nixon, he sort of goes yes and no. He sort of agrees and disagrees that Butch Cassidy was actually there. He's not entirely sure. But, yeah, certainly the Sundance Kid, Will Carver and Henry Logan and Harvey Logan, they are all known to be part of this robbery. In December 1900, they find themselves in Fort Worth in Texas. They are celebrating their success. They are having a grand old time. We've had a fucking brilliant run of it. And they decide to immortalise their friendship with a portrait, with a photograph.
Yes.
Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid, Harvey Logan, Will Carver and Ben Kilpatrick sat for what is now known as the Fort Worth Five photograph.
Fort Worth 5, yeah.
And now it must have seemed like a great keepsake at the time, until the Pinkerton agent, Charlie Stringo, he spots it in the photographer's window.
What the hell did the photographer think?
Well, the photographer obviously has no idea that he's got these 5 fugitives in
guess.
his shop. He just thinks, what a lovely picture of 5 chaps. I'm going to use it as an advertisement for my skills. And just completely innocently puts a large version in his window. The Pinkerton agent's walking past going, but that's them.
I will say a very quick aside here. That happened at Snappy Snaps in Ashford. So Snappy Snaps are popular before the days of the digital.
Before the digital.
So this is in 2005. Snappy Snaps, a photo was brought into them by my family.
It's a photo developing place.
Photo developing place, and they said, this is a very old photo. Could you restore it and could you do a large version of it? And the person said yes, and then we came back and collected it. It was like, oh my God, it's so great. And they were so pleased with it, they put it in the window. Then we had to go in and go, that's my mother and it's her funeral today. Can you please not put a massive picture of my mother in the window right now while we're all grieving? And they were like, oh, we were just really pleased with the work. And we're like, no! It was just pictures of my mother through the high street.
Lovely work, but no.
I know. It was like, well, she probably would have liked that. They were all mourning and everything like the Queen. But she bloody loved Butch Cassidy in the Sundance films.
So the Pinkerton agent, he goes into the studio and he gets a copy of this picture. And within days, it is sent up and down the country. Every shop, every newspaper has a copy of this picture, and it is printed ad nauseum for people looking for the Wild Bunch. Two of the members, William Carver and Ben Kilpatrick, they decide to stay on in Texas. On the 1st of April, Carver is ambushed by Sheriff Elijah Bryant and his deputies, and he actually dies from his wounds in the ensuing gunfight. Ben Kilpatrick is captured in November and sentenced to 15 years in prison. Now, Henry Logan, he seems to go off on his own. He forms his own little gang. He robs a train in Montana. he takes over $60,000. He then heads to Tennessee to meet up with his girlfriend, Annie Rogers, only to discover that Annie is already behind bars for passing off stolen notes. In one of his previous robbery, he's obviously handed over a bunch of cash, and she's been nicked for using stolen money. Now, 2 officers try to apprehend Logan, but they are shot dead in the attempt. He is quite the one for some casual violence. He has no issue. He is eventually himself captured after a fight at a pool hall, and he receives a sentence of 20 years hard labour. He escapes after 4 months, with rumours circling that he has paid a deputy $8,000 to facilitate his get out of jail.
Fair. Oh no, I must remember to close that door.
Oh no, I left the door open.
Oh no, I don't know why he's talking like that. Oh no. People have weird speech impediment, sir. And also, goodbye.
None of that is ever proved.
Yeah.
But it is widely suspected that he could not have got out without help. A year later, a year after his escape, he robs again, this time the Denver and Rio Grande train in Colorado. 2 days later, sheriffs eventually catch up with him. Logan is wounded in the attempt. However, rather than being captured, he takes his own life.
Really?
He shoots himself, rather than realising that the gig is up.
I mean,
And he's going to go in. He's going to...
Well, you're going to be facing either... Well, is it? I don't know. There's a death penalty in that.
Well, there would be now, because before he was just for robbery, but now he's killed a number of police officers. So yeah, so he would have been facing the gallows. So yeah, so he decided enough of that. He's going out on his own terms, and he takes his own life. Now, with all that going on with the rest of the gang, Cassidy, Sundance, and Sundance's longtime girlfriend, a woman called Etta Place, they flee to New York. And on the 20th of November 1901, they board the steamship Herminius, bound for Argentina.
For Argentina. Is that the tenuous link there, Nick?
It is. They have arrived in Argentina. They arrive and they purchase a 15,000-acre ranch on the east bank of the Rio Blanco, near a little town called Cholilla. Now, this is on the foot of the Andes Mountains. And on this ranch, there's a little 4-room log cabin where the 3 of them settle. And there they stay. They live in isolation. They've got some assumed names, and yeah, they live there for a number of years, sort of out of the way of anyone. But that does get boring. Gets
There's only
really
so much
boring.
Yeah.
Gets really dull.
Have this life of running around.
Yeah, running around, like jumping, having a great old time. But
sorry, they're like jumping, climbing trees.
Jumping.
They were jumping.
They were jumping.
There's nowhere to jump down
here.
There's nowhere to jump down here. There's actually plenty of places to jump. Well, I want to rob a bank. That's it.
Exactly. They want to rob a bank. And on February the 14th, 1905, 2 English-speaking bandits hold up a bank in Rio Gallegos. Now, this is quite some distance from where the ranch is, but people assume it is them. There are not that many English-speaking bandits in Argentina at this time, and so it is assumed that it is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And this seems to start a bit of a spree across Argentina. And there are about 5 or 6 cases of 2 Americans robbing banks and then disappearing entirely.
Yeah.
And it is assumed that all of these are the work of the same person or the same people.
Yeah.
And it is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
New level of fame, isn't it?
Yeah, sort of coming out of retirement and having a bit of a laugh. In June of the following year, Etta Place decides that she's had enough of life on the run, because she's been isolated in this bloody cabin for God knows how long. The other 2, they're off around the country, robbing banks, having a grand old time celebrating. She's stuck in this cabin. Yeah. Mostly by herself. Yeah. Going, this is shit.
Well, she wanted to settle down, and she's settling down with her partner and his accomplice.
And they're not there
robs
half the
banks,
time.
so it's like, oh, well, this is dull.
Yeah. So it is incredibly dull. So she says, no, I'm going back to the States. I'm going back to America. And they actually say, okay, fine. And the Sundance Kid dutifully escorts Etta back up to San Francisco. Yeah. Where she's actually never heard of again. Once she gets...
Well, she disappeared forever.
Yeah, disappears from the record.
He just shoves her off the boat. Right.
So we don't know what ever happened to her. Well, I think we know she arrived and she got there, But what when
Thrown off the side.
maybe yeah, got into port, thrown off the boat.
I don't think he did that, but I'm also she was never heard from again.
But-
It was like they were like, oh, she's boring. She's just a girl.
Yeah, I mean, if she may well have remarried, or she may have married, had a family. I mean, she may have robbed half of San Francisco.
Exactly. She may have been horribly, horribly butchered and robbed and started her own empire.
But we don't know.
We don't.
We don't know. While all this was going on in San Francisco, Cassidy, he sells the ranch in Argentina, and he decides that they're going to move to Bolivia.
Bolivia.
He
Yes.
moves north up to Bolivia, and he takes a job at the Concordia tin mine. Now, his friend Sundance, he joins him there once he's seen Etta back to safety, and while they're at the mine, their sort of primary duties include mainly their security guards. They're sort of chumped up security guards. They guard the company payroll, the company offices and things like that. But it's all very dull, this being on the right side of the law. As much as they try to go straight, I want to be a rancher, I want to do this, I'm going to get on the right side of the law. It's boring. It's so very, very dull.
It's very dull.
The facts surrounding how Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid meet their final end are a bit wobbly.
Legendary but wobbly. The likely and most sort of accepted explanation is that on the 3rd of November 1908, a courier for another mine, the local Amario silver mine, he is travelling with the company payroll. And he is ambushed and robbed by 2 American bandits. Now, these bandits, they make off with the mule that is carrying this cash, and the pair make their way to the local town where they knock on the door of a small boarding house. The owner of the house accepts them in. However, he becomes suspicious when he recognises the brand on the mule. Belonging to this particular silver mine. And going, what the hell have you got? What are you doing? Why do you have that? Why do you have this mule? And he thinks that's something that's dodge, something weird going on there. So while the 2 strangers are sort of settling into the boarding house, he goes to the nearby telegraph office to alert whatever authorities he can. Now, the nearest authorities to the town is a small cavalry unit. It is a cavalry unit,
of the Bolivian army, who are stationed nearby. The officer in charge, he dispatches 3 of his men to ride out and alert his superiors about these suspected thieves. 3 days later, on the 6th of November, the 2 men are known to still be in the boarding house, and soldiers approach. They've got the local cavalry unit, the soldiers, the local police chief has now arrived, as well as the mayor and various sort of town officials have all arrived to try and take these men down, wanting to be the ones who are going to put the cuffs on Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. As the soldiers approach, the 2 outlaws inside open fire. They have seen them coming from a mile away. In the initial sort of opening salvo, 1 soldier is killed, 1 is wounded. In return, the soldiers pepper this boarding house with gunfire. The standoff lasts for hours. Hours and hours and hours. It's not until around 2 a.m. that the soldiers hear a man screaming inside the house. The screaming is followed by a single shot, after which the screaming stops. Minutes later, a second shot rings out, and then silence. Now, the police actually leave it a few more hours. And then they cautiously approach and enter the room to find 2 men. 2 men who they believe to be Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, both dead on the floor. Both men are riddled with bullets, really, and arms and legs and everything. The man who they believe to be Sundance has a gunshot wound to his forehead, as if he has been executed, really. And the man thought to be Cassidy has been shot in the temple at close range. Authorities believe that Sundance has been mortally wounded by the fire from outside, is in huge pain. His friend puts him out of his misery and then takes his own life rather than giving in to the authorities. But then other legends start cropping up too about what could have occurred. Some people believe that the men weren't Cassidy and Sundance at all. They were just 2 local robbers. Who were there.
Confused.
And it was just people were confused. Or locals thought this is the opportunity for them to get some credit for capturing some really famous bastards.
Yeah.
So yeah, if who's gonna argue the toss? If I say the mayor says we've caught Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, the fame and glory goes to them for catching these people.
Yeah.
The bodies of these two men, they are hastily buried in some unmarked
so they couldn't
graves.
be identified.
So they're not identified, and even now their graves have not been located to do any sort of DNA testing or anything like that. So it's not known where they are actually, where their final resting place is. Many people believe that it wasn't them at all. That they had actually snuck back into the US years before, and they were happily living their lives back in the States, completely under the radar. Over the years, there were countless sightings of Butch Cassidy, old friends, old acquaintances, old enemies, swearing that they had seen him just driving down the road or something
on a Segway.
Like, exactly, just pootling along. Cassidy's younger sister, Lula Parker, she actually publishes a book in 1975, and she claims that Butch Cassidy returned to the States and he lived out the rest of his years in the States. He died in 1937.
Okay.
Of entirely natural causes, and he lived out and had a grand old time of it. And she swears that the only people who know where he's truly buried are the Cassidy family. And as they put it, he deserves to rest in peace. And they will not tell anyone where he is.
Love it.
There we go. There's a story of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And they're maybe ending up in Bolivia, maybe shot, maybe not. We don't know.
Maybe not. Love that story. I should say, have you seen the film?
I haven't.
You ain't seen Butch Cassidy.
I haven't seen it.
Not only have I seen that, I have seen that so many times. That was one of my favourite films as I was a kid.
I have not seen it.
So that's why I knew about
Robert
Redford and Paul Newman. It's so hot.
Yeah.
So it is brilliant. It's dated, but it is such a good film. You would enjoy it.
I've got memories of perhaps seeing bits of it when I was a kid with my dad watching
it
on TV on a Sunday type thing. But I can't remember I actually sat there and watched it.
I won't geek out over this too much, but I would recommend. Like, I am not a fan of a Western, but there are a few Westerns that are worth watching. And like, you think Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, you think Western. This is definitely one to watch because of the characterization and the performances in it. Even though some of their life is heightened and blown out of proportion, it's like it's not exactly linear. But that branding thing at the end of the donkey, and the cavalry coming in, I was like, "That's really, really, really," and everything. And again, the film ends. That's very famous. It's almost more famous than the story now. Is it ends with them going out in a blaze of glory and they're sort of immortalising this Remington style picture where they run out to meet the cavalry and the gunfire around it. But I had no idea that it was disputed.
Yes, indeed.
That they survived. And I suppose it would be a bit of fame and glory to say these two American bandits, we've got them. Would they then go, okay, now this is the time that we properly get different identities and sneak back to America? Why wouldn't they have done that before?
Well, I think that's the thought that they did. They didn't wait for this to happen, that they had actually gone.
Oh, that's a good point.
But they had actually gone prior. Sorry. Not waiting for this event to happen, but actually had gone prior. Back potentially when some people say when ETA went back to the States, actually they all went back to the States, and this
settled down different ideas. Well, Bolivia and they might want to go home, and then the sister saying about Butch Cassidy or her brother, saying about her brother is that of course it could be an opportunity for fame and fortune. If you are proven to be there, it's very convenient to say no, they definitely came back. I have no proof, and I'm never going to give you the secrets.
So she wrote a book. She sold a book. So is that just money coming in off her thing? And
that's what I would question. I would question if someone you were keeping their family secrets. Wouldn't you just keep the family secrets?
We also got to think. How would the Bolivian authorities know it was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? Yes, their picture was very famous and had been spread everywhere. But we said this is before the internet. This is before. So this
is too.
This then and
two white Americans.
Yeah, two white. But are they going to have pictures of Butch Cassidy in the local Bolivian police office to go? Oh yes, it's these two chaps, sort of thing. How do they know it's these people rather than just two white guys?
Well, that is a weird thing. Maybe that's the actual outcome is that they went back and they continued, and maybe they were the criminals who did learn their lesson and settle the hell down and go, no, we're done.
Yeah, and then their supposed death in Bolivia only helps them, or was it them? Absolutely, it was entirely them, and it went down as if the as the films portray.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Yeah, but a great story of the bandits, and as well as all of the strategy that they used.
Yeah,
so famously precise and robbing people and not really out there for murder, like we've covered before in the Wild
I think there
West.
are certain members of the gang that were, like, Logan.
Yes.
He was quite gun happy.
Yeah.
Would happily blast away at people. But then others, like, Cassidy himself, were notoriously, not fond of violence and would much rather.
Yeah. It's also reminding me of The Wild Bunch, the film, as well. So the opening
Another film
of
I've
that,
not seen.
It's very good. It's the old versus new, and kind of like the gang members of people saying there's a certain way of doing things, and there's younger people going, no, I'm just gun happy and everything. It's like, it's as such is life with all of these gangs.
Indeed.
Oh, it's a great story. I've completed my makeup. Don't I look fabulous?
You look glorious.
I mean, the transformation that has happened. We should do this every week, actually, because that was like, I absorbed so much while I was just like, eyeliner. There we go. What do you think, people? What do you think of the story of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, who he may have died next to, maybe he didn't? Do you think their story has become legend and has been blown out of proportion and turned into this sort of Robin Hood kind of hero worshipping because of the film later on? Or do you think it was a simple case of bandits who were very good at what they did and actually ended up, they won, really? They went off and had their retirement. Not everyone has to die in a blaze of glory, and not everyone has to die by being foolish. Maybe they were the smart ones.
Maybe.
Which side do you land on? Tell us what you think. Jump on the comments of this episode. Share your thoughts, your feelings, your musings, your Wild West stories. But most importantly, when you do, you must mix up an Argentina.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone straight to my head.
Yes, we couldn't mix up a tango.
No.
I had
not.
makeup to put on, and the tango would have killed us.
I had words to read.
You had words to read.
It's questionable whether any of these words are legible.
No, they were absolutely
fine. Understandable.
Difference between, because it is like a dry orange martini. I am fine with a martini. It kind of wakes me up a bit. I don't know why. I mean, this may just be garbage that I'm saying right now, but I really like that.
Yeah, it's really good. We've had a good run recently.
Yeah, it's not one that you'll immediately taste and go, a symphony of flavours. You'll go, that's like a good martini, and then suddenly with a Benedictine in there,
yeah,
it's like,
a nice drink.
Yeah.
The recipe will be out this evening, so do mix it up if you can. Very much recommended.
And share stories of any cocktails that you were enjoying over the weekend, or just send us recipes that we should consider in the future. People do send us pictures and recipe suggestions of cocktails. We need to have a crime that fits with them. We can't just do them, because people keep sending us stuff and I'm like, that's amazing, I so want to do it, but find me a crime.
Yes,
and
find a crime that matches and we'll be there.
Fucking elbow it in, it'll be fine. Or we'll just do listener's choice. Maybe it'll come to that at some point. If we can't find the recipes, we'll save some up. If you have fantastic ones that we haven't covered before, send them through to us. Please do tell all your friends about the Poisonous Cabinet. Share our podcast on any of the social media channels that you follow. Tell people. That is the most important thing for our podcast. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple iTunes primarily, but anywhere you listen to your shows. It really, really helps us. And consider joining us on Patreon if you want more from the Poisonous Cabinet every single week. Thanks for listening, guys. We have been the people inside the Poisonous Cabinet. We will see you next week. And remember, your loved ones are trying to kill you.